guys, so happy Sister Sunday. I've got a good topic for us today, and it's something that I get asked about literally all the time, and it's interview advice. I am 24, I have gone to so many interviews in my lifetime, and I'm obviously now self-employed. So I'm kind of on the other side of the spectrum where I'm interviewing people to kind of like grow my team, which is really exciting. But I think I now have come to a point where I have quite good insight onto both sides of it. So I'm going to be trying to give you some of the juicy advice that you might not have had before, the real talk advice, like what it's really like being on both sides. Piece of advice number one, time management. Be early to your interview, guys. There is nothing more telling than about someone's character than time management. Like, I honestly think lateness is rudeness, lateness is disrespect, lateness is not being able to kind of have that empathy to know that someone is waiting on you. You know, your whatever reason it is for being late is impacting another person's life, another person's schedule. And the thing is if this interviewer has lined up back-to-back interviews and you turn up 5 minutes late to your interview, you've lost 5 minutes to sell yourself. Like, why would you lose that opportunity? So be early, even if that means literally setting your diary alert for your interview 30 minutes before the actual time, just so your brain thinks, oh, okay, I need to be there at 10, not 10:30, right? Just make sure that you're kind of like mentally aware that there could be things happening, roadworks, tube closures. You can get lost. Like, I have found myself, and I'm a very, like, I will say, like, I'm very, very good at time organization and like planning my stuff, but I have found myself in situations where like you're late to an interview and you're so flustered and like the interviewer can tell, and it's just not a good first impression because you're there trying to kind of like apologize for being late and like make up for it, and like you're all flustered and your hair is everywhere. Like, it's not a good look, guys. Make sure you're there honestly half an hour early. I know it might be boring to just sit there and wait in the reception, but you're not going to regret it if you make a good first impression and you potentially get the job. Number two is the dress, your presentation. Now, it is tough because each job is different. Obviously, going into a job interview for an investment banking role versus going into a job at a fashion company, two completely different things. I really do just have like a go-to outfit, and it is just kind of like a simple black blouse, black trousers like these, like smart black trousers with a little thingy here, really simple shoes, kind of like maybe like a mule or a pump or something like that. The reason for this is you're not going to tell too much about your personality. You're not going to get judged too much before you walk in the room. You know, if you come in with like a really wacky waistcoat, or no idea why you'd wear a waistcoat, but do you know what I'm trying to say? People are going to kind of like take cues from that and apply it to you. And this is based on their own stereotypes, their own biases they have built up in their minds. Like, for me, I'd rather come in as a blank slate. As a girl, wear as much makeup as you're comfortable with. Sis only has one look, so I kind of pare it down a little bit. So it's not distracting. Like, you're not looking at my eyeliner application for a job interview. You're looking at me and what I'm saying. For guys, I really would just emphasize like cleanliness is key. Smelling good but not too overpowering is important. Just come in looking clean, looking neat, and looking professional. Someone that they wouldn't be embarrassed to put in front of a client or put in front of their boss if the opportunity was given. One thing I will always say is overdress. If you're going into a really casual like cafe job role, still, guys, put on a nice shirt, put on some nice trousers. Girls, wear like a little blouse and like some paper bag pants, like something. Just because I think it shows that you're taking the opportunity seriously. You didn't come there thinking it's a casual role and you're going to walk in and get it anyways. And that just really is like a good indicator as to how professional, willing, and honestly, guys, like low-key comes to hygiene. I've worked with some people who stink. And like, no one wants to hire the person who smells bad, or the person who can't dress, or the person, you know, who just doesn't look after themselves. It's not a good look for the company, regardless of what the company is, how image focused they are. So yeah, guys, be clean, be neat, be neutral, and don't have anything too distracting going on. Okay, so something I think, you know, we really have a strong bias is when we go into an interview, we feel on the back foot, right? I remember going into interviews and saying a quick prayer, like, I hope I get this job, I hope I do well. And there has been times where I have been offered the job, but after the interview, I've kind of like, you know, seen the office, seen the dynamics, seen the team culture, experienced the commute to and from my house. And I've just realized it really isn't what I thought it was. Like, it isn't what I wanted. For me, I'm someone, I like a female environment, right? Like, that's traditionally been the types of workplaces I've worked at. If I walked into a situation where it was like incredibly male dominated and I wasn't aware of this before I went to the interview, like it would be something that would make me take a step back from the situation. And that's just my personality. There's some people out there that love like a really, really like competitive environment, people who love a really relaxed, chill, non-pressure environment. Like it's totally up to you. And those are things that you need to ask the company as well. You need to go in there and assess, is this right for me? Because at the end of the day, the company's looking for someone and you're looking for a job. Like it really is like a mutually beneficial thing for you guys to either decline the job together or agree the job together. And ultimately the company might offer you the job, but it is up to you at the very end of the day, whether you want to accept it or not. Like that is where the ultimate decision lies. So make sure you kind of don't go into it like, hi, yeah, no, I'll do anything. Like don't do that, because you might get to a point where you accept the job and you realize this wasn't for me. One of the things that I think is really key in my experience as an interviewer is when you're asking someone a question about their experience. Now, a lot of the time, say I'm hiring for a Santa Claus role, like I'm hiring someone to be a Santa Claus at a mall, right? And then I'll ask about their experience and they will literally turn around and be like, yeah, you know, like I used to be an investment banker and like, you know, all of these things. And I'm like, that is entirely irrelevant to the situation. So what you need to do is get that piece of experience and apply it to the role. So I was an investment banker, and you know what, I was used to working in a high pressure situation. So, you know, nearing Christmas time, I feel like I'd really be able to organize the queue really well and ensure that everyone gets a fair amount of time whilst maintaining to the time schedule. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That's probably not the best example, but make sure that you get any piece of experience as irrelevant as you might feel it is and apply it to the role, because there's nothing more frustrating when I'm asking someone like to show particular examples from their experience, and like as someone who's not in their head and obviously not under pressure, I'm looking at them like, oh my God, babe, like you could have just said that, you know, this links to that and that's why you'd be really good for this role. So make sure you're applying your experience to the role at hand. Something that comes with that is listening to questions. I find that people kind of like you go into an interview, and I've done this before, and you plan your questions and your answers in your head that you think are going to come up, and you sculpt the perfect answer. And then you go into the interview and they don't ask you that question, but you have that answer and you've prepared it and you just want to give it. So a lot of the time, I think people kind of like hear a question and just give the answer they want to give, regardless of whether that relates to the question. So really do take your time and listen to the question. Something that kind of like, you know, if someone throws a curveball at you, I very much have always been someone, even if that means I have to sit there in silence in 10 seconds, I would rather take the time to just focus and sit there in silence for 10 seconds than just fumble and say, I don't know. Something that really demonstrates is ability to think on your feet, which is, I honestly think that's a really great quality, not only in a person, but in any type of job that you're going to be applying to. So learn to just accept that awkward silence. And I know the awkward silence, I know it, and you're just sat there like, that was awkward, wasn't it, guys? But I came up with something good to say on the other side of it. So don't be afraid to just embrace the silence, listen to the question, and give an appropriate answer to it. Okay, I know that this is something that a lot of people talk about, but I really want to stress this. Go the extra mile with your research. There's nothing better than, say, if I'm interviewing for this role of an assistant and someone can quote back to me a post that I did that performed really, really well, and they had an idea to make it even better. Like, I'm just like, damn, sis, like, come through with the suggestions, come through with the research. Like, I can see that you're taking this seriously. And even if it's a bad suggestion, I'm still just going to be like, wow, like, well done for taking that extra time to just research what it is that like you're going to be working with, right? So this isn't stuff, right? And I've done this when I graduated uni and I was 21, and I was like, when did the company open? How many employees do they have? How many doors is this house? Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, don't do that stuff, because the person doesn't need to be regurgitated like random numbers. Like, oh, I know when you started in 1977, you really only had 30 employees, but now you have, no one cares. That's so irrelevant. Google stuff like, what is the future of the company? Are they doing like an IPO coming up? Like, are they merging with another company? Even if it's a coffee shop, like, are they acquiring new sites? Do that research and link to it in an as possible, authentic as possible way in your answers. And I know it's hard, kind of like when you want to give that piece of information, but like a simple sentence just shows that you've done your research and you're just invested in the company as a whole, not the role itself. A little bit of a random thing that I would say is like, at the end of your interview, ask for like a tour of the office, just so you can get a feel for it. Because I remember there was one job, the job was so perfect for me and I got it, right? But like, it was probably one of the best jobs I ever had. The office environment and the office structure, there was no natural lighting. And the room in which I had the office was round the corner from like where all the desks were. And I just remember coming in on my first day and just looking around like, why have we got such bright lights on? And then looking and being like, because there's no windows. And that was something that was important to me. And I wish, not that it would have turned me off, but like I could have requested like a desk in a different place to where I got it, which was really in the center of the room. Blessed to have the desk in the first place. I'm not complaining, but I really would encourage you guys like to check it out, see what the office looks like and get a feel for it. So when you kind of maybe are accepted, you can kind of plan, like have a look, what are these people wearing, what do they have on desks, do they all have cushions that they brought from home for the chairs? Like it just kind of like take mental snapshots and you'll be able to prepare. And like, and let me just say this to you guys, I'm literally queen of preparation. Like preparation is my middle name, and it is really key. So at the end of an interview, we all know the interviewer will turn around and be like, so do you have any questions? And your brain will do this and you won't have any questions. And like, trust me, I've been in that position. Really, guys, have a question though. Like, even if it's like me being like last minute, so when will you be able to let me know whether I've got the role or not? Like, even if it's something as basic as that and as admin as that, ask the question. If you really feel like it's been a thorough interview and you've come out with no questions that you can think of on the spot, say, I just wanted to say like, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm super excited to, you know, be in the room with you and like learn more about this company. It's been one that I've wanted to work for ages. Like, just bullshit it. Say something though, because I think without asking a question or saying something at the end on your half, like that's your chance to kind of sell yourself again, you know, don't lose any opportunity to sell yourself. Guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you can, and if you have any extra advice, leave it in the comments. Let's create a little bank of information for people getting jobs, or even your own experience getting jobs. I think that is just like super valuable. I want us as a community to thrive, right? So we all need to be helping each other and sharing from our own experience. I can only speak from my own experience. I'm sure there's some of you who work in recruitment, there's some of you who work in HR. So make sure you guys are all contributing to the comments. And guys, let's just, like I said, get this coin. I love you. Mwah.